And game 1 is going to be taking place on Babylon. We may remake. We'll see what happens. It looks like maybe a caster was left out. I think Dave wanted to maybe bring someone else in, but we'll see. At spawning in the top left-hand corner of Babylon, we have the South Korean Zerg player, the best Zerg in all of South Korea, representing CranKy Gaming. It is Dark. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Babylon, we have the best Protoss player in all of North America, representing Alpha X. It is Astrea. Boy, let's go, Poppy, let's go. And even before Neeb did retire, even before he stepped away from StarCraft, Astrea was kind of vying for that #1 spot in the Americas region. He was contending against Neeb season after season, time and time again. So he has been on the rise, I want to say, ever since, I guess even pre-COVID, to be fair. Astrea spent a lot of time in Korea, spent a lot of time with Scarlet, with no regret, training, practicing, and improving. It's been really amazing to see him grow as a player over time, and really cement himself as one of the best. But he is... I can even see Dark asking if he's in Korea. True, we shouldn't be playing here. So typically, if we have NA versus Korea, we play on US West, but I just realized that we're playing on the Korean server. Let's go, Poppy, let's go. The probe just being as annoying as possible here. Yeah, okay, well, we'll see if we end up switching, hopping servers later, or if we just continue here. As we're getting into this. So far, nothing too crazy. Dark going to be going for a hatch gas pull. Link speed is on the way as he just now pulls out of gas. I felt like I was on like a tirade earlier, but I forgot what it was. Because I think I was just talking about Astrea and his accomplishments over the years. Same time with Scarlet. At least now we also have confirmation. I wasn't sure about this either, because Astrea has been playing a lot in ESL Cup Asia and in KSL and in Kung Fu Cup. So I wasn't sure if Astrea was in Korea or not, but it looks like we have confirmation. He's currently in the US of A. Not in Korea. But here we go. Two Lings are looking to slip on by the Adept. Takes out one of the Lings, but not the other, as Dark is going to get a free scout into the main base, confirming the Stargate opener. And honestly, that's a pretty important scout, because Astrea can be a really tricky player. He is not the most... he can't play standard, don't get me wrong, but he's willing to explore. He's willing to try out these different quirky builds. I guess kind of like Hero in that sense. Hero makes his own meta. I feel like Astrea is very exploratory in his own builds and can sometimes stumble upon really crazy and really aggressive things. Is he willing to do that against Dark? I'm sure he is, but at least for the time being, it looks like a standard opener. Adepts do shade across the map, looking to pick off a couple of those workers. Don't commit to the shade. We have plenty of Lings to keep up with them. Queens as well. Likewise, Astrea is setting up for that third Nexus. Dark is on the way. He's looking to try and force a cancel. This is spotted by the Oracle, and Astrea is racing back home. There we go. We do force the activation of the Pulsar Beam. We do keep the Oracle back at home for now. Second Oracle is on the way, and Astrea should now be able to go across the map and look for some economic damage. How are things looking? We've got two Queens headed towards the third base, covering the ramp, and it looks like, ooh, a very quick drone. Sorry, very quick Spore. We'll have to see it. Despite that, two drones go down. A lot of hull damage on that first Oracle, though. So second Oracle is moving out. We have a third Oracle on the way behind this. And the Lings are back. Oh, there is no shield battery. This Adept is looking exposed. But we do have a very clutch warp in, going to try and reduce that surface area. The Adept will go down. Meanwhile, across the map, that second Oracle is looking for some damage, but we have Queens in position. We have Spores as well. We get one drone. We do take some damage. Oh, and Dark has cut workers. I didn't quite take note, but Dark did go for an earlier lair. We have a Nidus on the way. Ling, Queen, Nidus, just like what Dark did against Triple, except a little bit later, is going to be coming out. And looking at the Visionary of Astrea, he didn't get into the main. He's also got Diva. But he didn't get into the main base. He didn't get a scout off. We do have the Overlord slipping into the main of Astrea. Does provide that vision. But no, we go for the Nidus on the front lines instead. Things are just trying to keep these Stalkers back. We have 7 Queens so far. And a massive wave of Lings. Darkest supply block though. Ooh, that is going to slow him down. Here we go, the Spores are on the way. We have a couple of stasis traps here at the third base, but there's no shield battery at the natural. The Adept is going to go down. We need a wall. Oh, looks like Astrea will just barely get that wall up in time. Oh, meanwhile, the Queens are under threat to these Stalkers. The Queens are being forced back. Lings are trying to break through that natural. But the Oracles do appear, and as Astrea is busy, as his attention is being kept here on the front lines, we have a Nidus into the main. We have a probe surrounding the slow warping, but the Nidus will finish. But nothing does come out. There we go. We were waiting for the surround. The stasis trap goes off, but only on a single Ling. We have another shield battery behind this. Dark is not really breaking through. Astrea is holding. We did just pop the overcharge, which means we don't have another available. Dark trying to break the third base, but the Sim City is just too good. The positioning from these Stalkers, it's just too good. And Dark still hasn't droned. Oh, he throws down a Hydra Den behind this. Ay, ay, ay. All right. More Lings are showing up, more Queens as well. The Lings are going for a full surround, but we have Blink. We do have that Blink. The Oracle's going ham here on these Lings. Dark throwing a lot away, and now he decides to drone. 10 workers on the way. Hydra Den does finish up. Dark has to be careful not to throw too much away. If he does, he will trigger a counterattack. As Astrea gets a 4th base at the same time as Dark's 4th. We have a pretty important Nidus, and with this Nidus, Dark should be able to deny the 4th base of Astrea. See the Lings coming in from behind. The Queens are here to support as well. With no shield batteries and with no stasis traps, yeah, this 4th is going to go down. Does get cancelled. Hello. One Queen does get stuck. And Dark is droning his heart out. Desperately trying to catch back up economically. He did preserve his Queen count at least. That will help defensively. So we have those Hydras on the way. We're trying to spread creep as best we can from every angle on the map. And Astrea sitting back pretty comfortable. He's got Blink. He has Charge already as well. We're working towards the Templar Archives and a Robotics Bay. So Astrea can get into Archons and Disruptors both, or even Colossi. Colossi would be amazing against this Ling Hydra army. Up! Meanwhile, a missed rally from Astrea, or an unfortunate rally, I should say, does come across the army. At least he does confirm the Hydras, at least. There we go. Storm is being researched. Now, I don't know if you noticed, but Dark actually has been avoiding some of these Hydra upgrades. Did delay Hydra speed for quite some time, and the reason for that is because the Lunkers. The Lurker Den is on the way. Dark is planning to turtle up, to just rush into Lurker tech instead. With that, he should be able to defend against any ground-oriented push. We'll see if he tries to attack as well. There is going to be a window here where he can be aggressive as well with this army. So Hydra's looking to break on through these rocks. Lurkers are on the way. Now we will have Storm, but Storm isn't the best splash damage against Lurkers. Both Disruptors and obviously Skytoss units do a little bit better. Immortals and Archons can be amazing. We already have 2 Archons on the way. Sorry, 2 Immortals on the way. Meanwhile, Dark isn't going for that timing that we were talking about. He's droning. He's looking to take another hatchery whenever he can. Hive is on the way. It looks like Dark is going to be getting into Hydra, Lurker, Viper. As he pokes his foot in, he tests the waters, does see the army of Astrea, and I think he wants none of it. He's going to back up. It can sometimes be awkward to take a 5th base, but Dark does need one. And soon as he's looking to try and max out as well. Hive is about to finish up. Once that's done, we can get into Adrenal Glands. We can get into the Lurker upgrades as well, like Lurker Range and Lurker Burrow. But Astrea, with such great game sense, he recognizes what's going on. We're getting into Skytoss. Second Stargate's on the way. Fleet Beacon up, +1 air attack as well. Astrea recognizes that pushing into all these Lurkers is going to be quite a challenge. And why not just bypass the Lurkers entirely and go into carriers? That is going to be the game plan here for Astrea. There we go. A 3rd Stargate is on the way. And there's a 4th Stargate as well. Oh, Skytoss. Let's go, Papi. Let's go. You love to see it. Before that happens, we can see Astrea just looking to trade out a little bit. As Astrea is maxed, and he needs to free up some supply for carriers. He needs to get rid of some of these Zealots. He needs to get rid of some of these Stalkers as well. Mainly the Zealots. Oh boy. Astrea may be looking to make his best Neeb impression, as we do have a Zealot counterattack here in the main base. Likewise, the fresh 5th of Dark is looking to be cancelled. Go, can we focus on the hatchery? Up, up, up! There we go, the hatchery will go down. And meanwhile, the drop into the main base was cleaned up as well. Dark does hold. He does defend. Do we have any Vipers? We have 2 Vipers. Not an amazing amount, I'm concerned. 2 Vipers can be quite risky, especially with High Templar in the field to feedback. There we go. We have a couple of Storms here on these Hydras. Dark trying to press on forward here. But pushing up this ramp into this Protoss army is a tough ask. Oh, he's within range. Almost gets the High Templar. They are so battered, so bruised. Lurkers edging their way forward. At the same time, another massive Zealot counterattack, but no, we have Lurkers in position at the triangular 3rd. Likewise, Prism slipping into the main base, but the Hydras are here as well. Dark doing such a great job at keeping units back at home to defend against these counterattacks. As I say that, up! Does deny the Warping in the main. And even though Dark has been gaining ground, it's been slow. It's been slow for Dark to try to get on top of this base, and as a result, we have our first carrier, and we have 4 more on the way. How much damage can Dark get done before they come out? Oh! Speaking of, 1 carrier does fall. A great abduct there from Dark, and Dark is getting on top of this Nexus. Astrea trying to expand here on the right-hand side. Do you have a feedback on one of those Vipers as well? And Dark has honestly done a great job so far. What I'm worried about is that he didn't throw down the Spire. He's seen the carriers. He knows about the carriers, but Dark refuses to throw down the Spire. He's still on Roach Lurker or Hydra Lurker Viper. on an army that doesn't scale amazingly if he goes up against Skytoss. And here we go, that carrier count suddenly is massive. We have 6 carriers on the field. That is going to be enough. At the same time, though, we have a Hydra hit squad on the right-hand side. Astrea's army may be big, it may be menacing, but it's not large. It's not, it's not mobile. I'm still waking up again. And here we go, the carriers push forward, they target down lurker after lurker, one after another. Astrea completely shuts down this army, but on the right-hand side, the Hydra hit squad takes down the second 5th base. It looks like Astrea doesn't really care though. It looks like he's focusing on his push. He wants to not just clean up all the lurkers, but also the spores. He wants to try and snowball, and I do appreciate this. Astrea, he just lost 2 bases. He has to try to apply pressure here to the fresh bases of Dark, but he gets abducted. The Hydras are coming in from every angle. The concave is real, and we don't have any shield batteries or cannons to support. A second, 3rd carrier go down. Up, and just barely the 4th. Astrea overextended. He didn't have enough to support his army. Didn't have any High Templar with Storm, any Colossi, Disruptors, Archons. Now Astrea is stuck on 4 bases. Meanwhile, Dark holds onto his 5th and respread that creep and try to take another base. Now Astrea isn't out of this yet, but he doesn't really have the economy to sustain a remax. That's why losing his 5th bases was so crucial. There we go. Another Zealot counterattack. This is going to be finding some damage. Hatchery should go down, at least. At the same time, carriers push forward as well. This time with plenty of High Templar on the ground for Storm. They are going to be the answer to these Hydras. Hydras are rotating over to meet up with these carriers. Meanwhile, I love it. The lurkers are going for a run by. Or waddle by. They waddle more than they run. And we can be quite cheeky with this, but we're just going to be looking to harass this 5th base. Once again. Does force a cancel. While Astrea's focusing on his main arm, we do have the Vipers coming in. We do have some feedbacks, but no, the feedbacks are too late. The Abducts do pop off. 3 more carriers go down. We are down to 5. Meanwhile, the lurkers across the map are going uncontested. Looks like the Hydras almost find another carrier. Dark has to be careful not to overextend. These Hydras are quite expensive. Lurkers laying siege upon the natural base. It looks like the 5th of Dark will go down, but here we go. The Vipers have returned. We get another Abduct, and we only have 3 carriers. That is not going to be enough. The Hydras alone can deal with this as they stutter step forward. Meanwhile, across the map, it looks like the lurkers are finally going to be fended off, but as Dark shuts down the carrier army, he can once again take down the 5th base. Astrea is being pulled apart. He had a strong start. Let's bring this all back. Dark went for, what was it, a 46 drone Ling Queen Nidus all in, and he was unable to break the defenses of Astrea. Astrea got up with his 4th base relatively early on. Dark had a lot of catching up to do, and eventually he did. He came back in this game, got into lurkers, got into Hydras, got into Hive Tech. Somehow he was able to take a good fight and also just keep the base count of Astrea in check. Crazy. Like, Dark was dead. He was not in a good position at all, but now he is taking control of the map, taking control of this game. Ultras are on the way. No Spire yet. apparently we don't need no Spire. Astrea taking a ninja base. I mean, he has to do something. Aye. Astrea backs off trying to rebuild. Looking at the unit tab here, Astrea is down to 4 carriers. He's got 3 High Templar, a handful of Archons. Yeah, Dark is just going to be free to remax, to be honest. He's going to be free to max out and push in once again and try to break one of these other mining bases of Astrea. Exactly what's about to happen. We do see him try to force himself up this ramp. Does take a massive storm to the face though. Oh. As we're just abducting whatever we can, 2 Archons go down. Can we get a third? Oh, almost. But Dark has been a little bit distracted. He's been spending a lot of time here on the left-hand side. It does mean that Astrea does get his ninja base up and running. He is soon about to take his other soon-to-be 6th base. Oh, the storm. Storms are real. Ultras are going for a counterattack. Oh, they spot the probe! Oh, the long-distance mining, no! Top right-hand side has been revealed. Dark is aware. The jig is up. The ninja's been found. Dark just gonna be pushing on forward here, taking down another Nexus. Yeah, he knows that he can just keep on pushing. Just keep on going. Oh my god. Another massive storm on those Hydras. But Dark, he can afford to eat some storms. It's okay. The Ultras take out top right, the Lurkers take down bottom left. Carriers are caught between them, they don't really know where they want to go. It looks like the carriers are headed towards cleaning up these Ultras. That means they're not here to defend against the Lurkers. It's damned if you do, damned if you don't here for Astrea. He just doesn't have the army supply to defend in multiple places at once. He doesn't have the numbers, papi. We see another abduct. Oh god! Oh. The cleave on that Ultra. It's so tanky. Another base does fall. The Hydra Lurker pushing forward here. Astrea almost down to 1 mining base. Down to 1 base. That's top right, and it's barely mining. Astrea, maybe he watched that triple game. The game that we casted earlier. It's possible. Unfortunately, Protoss can't lift buildings. Unfortunately. As Astrea is going for one final push here. His hopes and dreams, they all rely on these 3 Immortals and 4 carriers. GG gets called, and Dark will take game number 1. GG. Oh my god. After a failed Ling Queen Nidus all-in. Bearing in mind that after that all-in fell on its face, Astrea was up almost 20 workers. He was working on his 4th base. His 4th did get cancelled, if you remember. But, yeah, like, he was doing so well for himself. Astrea was in a commanding position. But Dark also knew the best way to come back, and that was to quickly tech up into lurkers, to be able to buy some time, to be able to camp on his side of the map for a little bit longer, eventually getting to a high, eventually maxing out as well. And I do think that Astrea's carrier transition was good. I don't think it was late or anything like that, but unfortunately he was a little bit too overzealous when it came to his push. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to, he was being pulled apart as well, just because his army was so slow. If you remember, everything went south for Astrea when he lost his 5th base and his 6th base. His 5th base to lurkers and his 6th base to a Hydra counterattack. After he lost both bases, he was kind of forced all in. His hand was forced to push out across the map, and he lost almost every single carrier when he did that. Oh. He's just in a really awkward position, and we'll see what happens in game number 2. Spawning in the top right-hand corner of Ancient Sister, and we have the South Korean Zerg player representing Dragon Kaizi Gaming. It is Dark. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Ancient Sister, we have the best Protoss player in North America representing Alpha X. It is Astrea. Let's go. I'm catching up in the chat. Catching up. Did Casimir beat Hero? Hero didn't show up. It was a walkover. It was a walkover. Unfortunately. Oh, let's go! As Dark is going for a build that we've seen him use to quite great effect. He did this last night, sorry, 2 nights ago in the Kung Fu Cup against Hero. He did this against Classic on Gresvan as well. And now he's doing it against Astrea. Dark going for a proxy hatch across the map. Let's go. Again, Dark has been quite fond of this build, and I think the most interesting thing about this is that initially he only did it on Gresvan, but recently Dark has been doing it on Royal Blood. He's been doing it here on Ancient Cistern as well. Like, yeah, Dark just has no fear. If there's no ramp going into the natural, then yeah, Dark, he's willing to proxy hatch. Let's go. Now, Astrea doesn't see. He goes across the map, he scouts the gas, he scouts the pool. He may think that it's an unnatural natural, but Astrea is too busy in the main base to recognize what's going on. As a result, there's no Forge, there's no Zealot either. This is going to be a very late reaction here from Astrea, as finally the creep was revealed. The creep has been revealed, spines are on the way. Now, Astrea is born and raised in the land of America, in the land of the NA ladder. He's reacting here with a Forge, which is the correct reaction. So the Protoss is going to have very limited production, so we need a Forge for cannons, because we need some extra DPS here to try to hold on. We can also react with one of two things. We can go for a Robo or a Stargate. Stargate is for Void Rays, Robo is for Immortals. They both work here, or they both can work in this scenario. We'll see which one Astrea goes for. For the time being, he's going to be throwing down some cannons here at the natural. Still only one pylon powering everything, which is a little bit scary. It is an Artosis pylon. Behind this, we have a Bailey Nest on the way. Dark is going to be going for a Bane Bust. Oh boy. Spines are borrowed. They are within range of the Cyber Core, and if the Cyber Core goes down without any tech, we're never going to see a Robo or a Stargate. Cyber Core is getting very dangerously low, and it looks like it will go down. That means this is the only production for Astrea. One Gateway. That is it. That is all he has. The Gateway will go down. Now he can only defend with cannons, shield batteries, and 2 Stalkers. We have a second Gateway on the way in the main base. But this may just be too much, to be honest. The Spines take down the Forge. Stalkers are trying to do what they can. We do have a second pylon, thankfully. So 2 pylons keeping everything active. But these Banelings, they're going to be looking for those pylons. The Banelings, the Lings, the Queens, the Spine Crawlers. Here we go. We rush forward with everything. And we'll see what survives at the end of this Bane Bust. The Banelings, they manage to take down one of these pylons. They take down both. GG gets called, and Dark will take the series 2-0. Aye. GG. Dark with no chill, Papi, with no chill. He doesn't care who he's playing against. Again, he's done this and won against Classic. He's done it against Hero, and he's willing to do it against Astrea as well. GG, well played. Oh. Aye, aye, aye. Oh, and yeah, my condolences to Astrea. He did do quite well for himself in game one. Again, like Astrea, there were moments in game one where he was ahead, where he was winning that game. But it did kind of slip through his fingers a little bit, and Dark was able to overcome the might that is Astrea. Here in game two, a little bit more straightforward. It was a late scout from Astrea. The reason for that is that the probe that he sent across the map scouted the opener, but he didn't, like, he was too busy, like, being annoying with his probe in the main, like messing with the mineral patches, instead of scouting to confirm that there was no that there was no hatchery being taken. You know, the third base hatchery, basically, which is quite common in ZvP, just because you deny the natural base instead. So Astrea was in the dark as to what was going on, and by the time he figured out what was happening, it was a little bit too late. Oh, GG, well played. And with that, Dark moves on to the semi-finals.